Welcome to the 2020 Minnesota TZD webinar series. Yesterday, we covered the topics of building your case after leaving the scene. Today, we'll be covering making a difference with teen safety programs in the U.S. I'll be moderating today's webinar. I'm Christine Hernandez. I'm the statewide TZD program coordinator. And just to let everybody know, the webinar is being recorded and Laura's PowerPoint will be posted on the website minnesotatzd.org later on this week. Again, we'd like to start out by thanking our hosts, including NHTSA, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, and the Minnesota Departments of Health, Public Safety, and Transportation. And now I'd like to turn things over to Mark Kindy. Mark is one of Minnesota's 3 TZD co-chairs and the manager in the Injury and Violence Prevention Unit at the Minnesota Department of Health. Mark?
Thanks so much, Christine. Good afternoon across the nation, and it's just a real joy and pleasure to be here today. Good health is more than the absence of disease or injury. It's all about those factors that contribute to our social, mental, physical, and spiritual well-being. Motor vehicle crashes are among the leading cause of death and hospital treatment for children, youth, and young adults in Minnesota. We saw in the presentation on Tuesday from Sweden and Norway that motor vehicle crashes are the 8th leading cause of death worldwide. We've realized that if we need to bring different disciplines together if we're to solve the traffic crash problem. We need vehicles that are safe and that operate correctly. We need design features and roadways that reduce the risk of injury and death. We need our vehicle operators of all types and modes that know how to use the traffic way and that intersect with others in ways that reduce risk of crash occurring. We need the promise of enforcement to help us remember how to interact properly. We need a trauma system that functions seamlessly to travel, to triage, to transport, and promote healing and recovery. All of these components function in harmony and connection with each other to create a culture of traffic safety. This is the culture, again, described by Sweden and Norway so appropriately, in which crashes are not expected to occur. They're the exception, the aberration. The rule should be that we travel and move without incident. That's our goal, and that's our hope. But hope is not a strategy. The strategies are what we're exploring in this array, this constellation of TZD conference presentations, and are what we'll be hearing later on today. But first, it's my joy to honor to congratulate and to present our 2020 TZD Emerging Leader Award recipients. These students are being recognized for their involvement over the past 5 years in Eden Prairie High School's distraction-free Life Club's youth outreach team. The 5 recipients of the 2020 TZD Emerging Leader Award are Savarna Nalamali, Amy Wong, Abi Nalamali, Aish Gujral, and Sam Fronick. Savarna and Amy were instrumental in founding the club. They served as primary advisors for the youth outreach team, including for events to engage teens and to mentor elementary school children about distracted driving. Abi and Sam were influential in creating marketing and advertising strategies to help advance the Distraction-Free Driving Club and expand it throughout Minnesota. Aish was the lead developer of a 2020 wall calendar that highlighted distracted driving facts and figures through original illustrations and graphics, as well as memorializing victims of distracted driving. This past summer, team members helped to create a summer internship program for high school and college students that attracted more than 65 applicants from across the country. To this new generation of public health culture changers, congratulations. Let's listen in as they share with us.
My name is Varna Alali, and I'm currently a third-year student at the University of Minnesota Carleton School of Management. In 2015, Amy and I started the Distraction-Free Life Club at Eden Prairie High School with the vision to empower teenagers to drive safely on the roads every single day.
Hi, my name is Amy. I'm a current junior at UC Berkeley. I started the Distraction-Free Life Club with Savarna back in 2015. And some things we did included speaking at a previous TZD conference and developing a guidebook for starting distraction-free life clubs in other high schools around Minnesota.
Hello, my name is Abhinav Mali. I'm currently a freshman in college, but while I was in high school, I was the president of the Distraction-Free Driving Club at Eden Prairie High School. And some of the events I did were I was the marketing liaison for the internship last summer, and I also attended the Raksha Walk.
Hi, my name is Samuel Fronick, freshman at UW-Madison. I was vice president of the Distraction Free for Life Club back in Eden Prairie. I was involved with the summer internship along with the camps we did at the elementary schools.
Hi, my name is Aish Gujral, and I'm the Distraction Free Life Club president and the director of teen outreach at the Shreya R. Dikshit Memorial Foundation. Currently, I'm a junior in high school. I have contributed significantly to the efforts in instilling distraction-free behaviors in elementary school students, creating the Distraction-Free Life Calendar, running our very own Students for Safer Streets internship, and also creating the Distraction-Free Life podcast.
Oh, shoot. Well, thanks to the emerging leaders. That was a great video. Before I introduce our speakers for today, I have a few housekeeping items. As a reminder, this webinar will be recorded and a link to the recording will be on the TZD website within a week. If you have a question for our speakers, please put it in the Q&A below at the bottom of your screen, and we'll get to your question at the conclusion of the presentations. If there's a question that needs immediate attention, I can interject at an appropriate time. The webinar series is proud to offer continuing education credits. To find the forms, please go to the Making a Difference with Teen Safety Programs in the USA webpage. For our law enforcement viewers, post board credits are also available. Please read the important announcement from the post board. If you're watching this webinar live, please watch the webinar in its entirety, and TZD will submit the affidavit of attendance report to the post board for you. If you're watching a recorded version of this webinar, please complete the affidavit of attendance on the TZD website and email it to tzd@umn.edu. Instructions are also on the website. Now on to our topic for today, making a difference with teen safety programs in the US. We've got one speaker today, Laura Moore. She's a traffic safety specialist and Kansas Safe Coordinator with the Kansas Traffic Safety Resource Office branch of DCCCA, where she works since December 2008. Laura played a large role in taking the SAFE program across Kansas and into other states. She assisted with the growth, success, and national recognition of SAFE and continues to be as passionate about it today as she was in the beginning. Laura spends each day doing her best to ensure that Kansas teens know that seatbelts are for everyone. Laura holds a BS in Family Studies and a Human Service from Kansas State University. She and her husband have 2 boys. With that, I will turn it over to Laura and welcome.
Okay. Think you all can see me now. And I'm going to start presenting. I first want to congratulate those emerging leaders. You guys, that is some pretty outstanding work that you're doing. Not only is the work outstanding, but you as individuals, your interviews were really awesome. I'm super excited to see what you're doing. Also, want to let you all know that I'm really excited to be here, but be with you in this virtual way that we're living right now. So excited that I'm probably going to talk fast, telling myself to talk slow. But if I do have questions, if you do have questions, please type them in the Q&A box, like Christine said, and we can get to them at the end. Like Christine said, I have been with the SAFE program since 2008. No, 2010, I've been with the SAFE program. And I've recently, 2 weeks ago, I turned in my notice to give up teaching at home with my son, 4th grade. I've had to do that like at home hybrid learning thing. But he goes back to school 4 days a week next week, only 4 days. We're still at home on Wednesdays, but you know, it's that COVID thing. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. So this is the SAFE program. Hopefully, when I'm finished today, you all are going to learn how SAFE, Seatbelts Are For Everyone, started in Kansas, grew, and is now in over 150 schools. Also going to chat with you all about our Kansas Teen Transportation Safety Conference. Tips, tricks, how to create, develop, organize, plan, and promote the event. Before we get to the conference, though, I'm going to talk and explain what the SAFE program is. So, way back, this was happening in Kansas. Unbelted fatalities for 15 to 17-year-olds. 2009, there were 17 teens between 15 and 17 killed in traffic crashes. 18 teens were killed in 2010. I don't know if you all are super familiar with Kansas. We have a total population of about 3 million people. I looked this up the other day, and about 61,000 of that 3 million, 61,000 are between the ages of 15 and 17. So when you look at those numbers, 3% of the teen population was killed in a traffic crash in 2009. 3%, you guys. Holy moly. So what are we going to do with that? Along with the data showing how many teens we were losing, in Kansas, we do what we call a child seatbelt study. All states do an observational seatbelt survey measuring the average seatbelt use of people driving in their state, right? Kansas, because we're Kansas, you know, brush it off. We take it a little bit further and do a child study. The year the SAFE program started, they separated it out so that we know what 0 to 4-year-olds, 5 to 9-year-olds, 10 to 13-year-olds, and 14 to 17-year-olds are doing when it comes to seatbelt use. The very first year that we separated it like that, we found that only 61% of Kansas teens were wearing their seatbelt. So if you mix those two data points together, the 3% of the teen population dying in traffic crashes with that super duper low seatbelt use rate, we got some thoughts and ideas and facts really that we were not okay with. Decided that we needed to do something about the issue. So my slides are not transferring. Doo-doo. There we go. Okay. So the SAFE program began after we were looking at those data points. And at the same time, there was a crash in Ulysses, Kansas, where 4 high school students were killed in a traffic crash over lunch break. Program begins. That's really what set the law enforcement and citizens off. Like, we need to do something about that. Then they started looking at the data. Then they developed the SAFE program. So SAFE is a cooperative effort to increase restraint compliance through positive rewards, education, and strong enforcement. Program begins with students being trained to perform observational seatbelt and distracted driving surveys, which they conduct at their school at the beginning of the program, typically in the fall, and then at the end of the program, usually in the spring. Now, yes, COVID, observational surveys when students are all remote or hybrid. It's different this year. Everything is different this year. But typically, students are conducting surveys. Over the next months of school, that student group shares traffic safety messages with their peers and their community. Traffic safety messages focusing on seatbelt use, distracted driving, impaired driving, drowsy driving, safe weather or safe driving in the weather, watch out for animals, deer on the roadways, anything traffic safety. Along with those monthly traffic safety messages, the SAFE team shares pledge cards with their peers, encouraging them to pledge to wear their seatbelt and not drive distracted. Each month, out of the signed pledge cards, winners are selected and awarded a prize. The final component of the SAFE program is an enforcement period. There are 2 weeks of increased enforcement in and around the schools in Kansas. Citations are issued to anyone not wearing a seatbelt. Through the years, we've found that typically there are more tickets issued to adults than there are teens. So to me, that says the SAFE program is working. This is a map showing where SAFE started. Way down southeast Kansas, Crawford County. The very first year, there was 1 county and 6 schools. This is where the SAFE program was last year. 172 schools in 66 counties. About 70,000 high school students received some sort of traffic safety message once a month. These safety messages included not just seatbelt messages, but all forms of traffic safety messaging. Just like I said before, distracted driving, impaired driving, and all issues that we deal with on the roadway. Again, this is where SAFE started. This is where it was last year. This is where it is right now during COVID. Fewer schools, obviously, but there are still plenty of schools. We're at 117 that are active and participating in the program. So this next slide, I'm hoping to show a video, and I'm hoping that the sound is going to work. And give you a better idea of what SAFE is, how it operates.
It's about 100 people a day die on the road in the US. If we had 100 people die in a plane crash every day, what would happen to the plane industry?
Christine, can you see and hear this?
Yes, I can, Laura, sorry.
Okay, great. I'm gonna start it over and let it go.
It's about 100 people a day die on the road in the US. If we had 100 people die in a plane crash every day. What would happen to the plane industry?
It's not something you can take lightly. It's not something you can take for granted, but it's also something that we can't stop talking about.
Hopefully as they're driving, that little memory of him kind of makes them think things can happen quickly.
Safe means seatbelts are for everyone, but we also focus on distracted teen driving since a lot of teens do get in crashes. We try to push out the message that this is one of their #1 risks. They need to take it seriously.
We've done multiple videos on the school news. We post to Twitter regularly. We do announcements at assemblies.
We have our safe pledges during Husky halftime, and we always have meetings and kind of plan for the future of what we want to do.
As well as going out, doing seatbelt checks, we would stand and mark people who aren't wearing their seatbelts.
They see their peers and their classmates doing this, and they realize it's not just something like the teacher wants us to do it. It's like, well, our classmates believe it too, maybe we should hop on board with this idea.
It's definitely huge to have it a peer program instead of it's just handed down by an adult, by a teacher.
I just say, put on your seatbelt, or else I'm getting out of the car.
It's a community effort. We can't do it alone. We need teachers, we need parents, we need community members, we need everybody involved.
You do have your basic foundation of what safe is. To be truly effective, you have to build it around your community.
There was a student that got into a car crash a couple weeks ago.
A lot of the conversation that was going on within our hallways was he wearing a seatbelt? And he was.
A lot of people were impacted by that, noticing that seatbelts do make a difference.
To hear the student body talk about that and its importance, they're clearly getting the message.
It's a good thing to have in every school.
There's a lot of things that Safe Club does that can help students be aware of what they need to really focus on whenever they're driving.
Anything that's worthwhile, you have to put some work into. And what's more worthy than trying to keep your students alive?
Okay, so from that
It's about 100
video,
people
you
a
can
day.
tell that there are a lot of great things about the SAFE program, people involved. Really quickly, I'm going to go over the different parts of the program. So like I said before, students start out the program in the beginning of the year with an observational survey. Obviously, we want them to be safe, pun intended. So we arm them, dress them up with those traffic safety vests. Next part of the program are the monthly educational activities. For the last 5 years, we've partnered with the Miss Kansas organization, paying Miss Kansas to travel across Kansas, presenting to schools involved with the SAFE program. She talks beauty pageants, scholarship opportunities, and traffic safety. Miss Kansas last year and also this year is an artist, and many of the schools she went to, she painted their school mascot during the presentation. So that was a really great opportunity for schools, fun, interactive, beneficial for everyone. Example of a traffic safety message that schools can take advantage of. Here at the Traffic Safety Resource Office, we have multiple programs that SAFE teams can use to educate their peers and community. One of them is called Booster to Belts. This program focuses on car seats and seatbelt use for kindergartners through 3rd grade students. The SAFE program, or the SAFE teams, present this program. So you have high school students, junior high students going to an elementary to do a 15-minute presentation. Beneficial, the high school students get out of school, it's always a win. To go to the elementary, to present to their younger peers, they really enjoy that, and they're educating them. We have partnered with the Kansas Sheriff's Association for multiple years. Sheriff's Association pays the SAFE teams a speaker reimbursement fee after they present the Booster to Belt program. So another partnership. Kansas troopers, the highway patrol, they have their seatbelt convincers. We've got Vince and Larry, the crash test dummies. These are just examples, real life examples of things that students have done to educate their peers and community. Sidewalk chalk, donut, forget to buckle up. One school gave donuts out to people that drove by that were wearing their seatbelts. really fun activity. Pledge card signing. Like I said, every month students are given the opportunity to sign pledge cards, pledging to always wear their seatbelts. Then there are prizes drawn for out of those signed pledge cards. Enforcement. Like I said, there is an annual seatbelt enforcement period. And we've found, and I bet you all know, that education along with enforcement will change behavior. So SAFE isn't just about the teens. It is focused on teen drivers, but we have found in Kansas that adult seatbelt use rates have also increased in several counties that have had the SAFE program established. After the seatbelt use has increased after the SAFE program has been established for several years. We found that it's enough that SAFE is another tool to reach those remaining holdouts, those people that are not going to use or not going to wear their seatbelts. When you've got high school students, junior high students, your grandchildren, your nephews, your nieces, your neighbors that are reaching out to you, begging, pleading, educating you to just wear your seatbelt, because those young people know that seatbelts save lives, they make a difference, and they put that pressure on those holdouts. We found in Kansas that it does change the behavior. Another tool that we help SAFE students use, whether they're doing traffic safety messages, letting their communities know about the enforcement period, social media. At the Traffic Safety Resource Office, we guide and help those young people how to maneuver the world of social media. I say we, but we actually have a specialist, Patricia Middleton, rock star on print media, social media, all the things. We use it, we encourage schools to use it, SAFE programs, law enforcement, and we follow all of these different organizations, like I said. Along with social media, Patricia puts out a fantastic newsletter every 2 weeks. Rather than me sending out multiple blast emails to all the 117 sponsors multiple times a day, Patricia puts together this fantastic newsletter that ensures the content is consistent, enables that consistent communication, and through the newsletter, we know who is opening the newsletter, because we have their email addresses. On social media, we know people are out there, but there's the world of social media. Through the newsletter, we know who is getting it, and so we can kind of streamline what we're giving them. P.S. Patricia's a lifesaver. So a little bit more data. I talked about the seatbelt surveys, both that the SAFE teams do, also the observational surveys that the state of Kansas does. When the SAFE program started, like I said before, teen seatbelt use rate was 61%. Okay, these top numbers, this line, that is teen seatbelt use measured by the state of Kansas. These green bars are the number of schools involved in the SAFE program. So as you can see, as the number of schools involved with SAFE has increased over the years, so has teen seatbelt use. In fact, it's increased 26%. To me, that says that the SAFE program is working. I have more data for you, don't worry. Unbelted fatalities. We all know that seatbelts save lives. Fatalities involving teens are kind of all over the board, but the general trend is going downward. Again, I say that's because the SAFE program works. Well, to back up what I say, because my opinion is pretty biased. We actually had the SAFE program evaluated, meaning we paid Wichita State a whole potload of money to do an evaluation of SAFE. They went into schools that had the SAFE program, that had never had the SAFE program, that were new to the SAFE program, and in different ways measured seatbelt use, traffic safety awareness, etc. Their research was published, and guess what? What they found was what Laura said. Funny. Really though, they found that general traffic safety awareness was higher in communities that had participated in the SAFE program longer. I could have told them, but now it's proven and been published. So that is the SAFE program. Now we're going to chat a little bit about the Kansas Teen Transportation Safety Conference. That's our cool logo. Way back when we started taking teens to a conference, we took them to KDOT, Kansas Department of Transportation. We took teens to the adult conference for years, 5 years maybe. We were taking between 120 and 180 high school students to the adult conference, which was actually kind of cool. It made the adult conference way more fun. No offense to the adults, but it did. It was way more fun. It gave these young people an opportunity to meet and network with the professionals of the traffic safety world. Also gave the professionals an opportunity to recruit and mentor some of the young people. Anyway, went on for a great while, but it got to the point that there were too many high school students at this conference, like too many, almost more high school students than adults. So KDOT gave us our own conference, thus Kansas Teen Transportation Safety Conference. I have a slideshow here showing pictures, images of the coolness, great things we got to do at the conference. It's super duper long, but I just want to show you some of the cool stuff that they get to do. Networking, distracted driving, or impaired driving, I guess. This is, again, networking. This video is up on our website. If you'd like to see more, it's just a slideshow of pictures. If you'd like to see more pictures, I can share that link later. Here are some fun, they're blurry because they're so big, additional pictures. This one in the top right is the most recent conference. We had like 150, 65 kids from all over the state of Kansas that come to one hotel for 2 days overnight, and it is crazy fun. So I've talked a lot about all of the great things that the SAFE program does. The traffic safety vests and the prizes and the conference. I know. How the heck do we do this? How do we pay for this? Well, it's only a bill. Senate Bill 89, actually. After 3 years, oh my gosh, 3 years of meeting with Kansas legislators, they finally saw a sliver of light, and they didn't believe us. They came to our side. Prior to Senate Bill 89, in Kansas, when an adult, 18 or over, was pulled over and issued a seatbelt citation, a ticket for not wearing their seatbelt, they paid $10. That's what a seatbelt ticket cost if you were an adult in the state of Kansas prior to Senate Bill 89. After 3 years of meeting with these legislators, Senate Bill 89 was passed spring of 2017. It established the Seatbelt Safety Fund. This fund provides money that is to be used for child/teen traffic safety education, and it's administered by Kansas Department of Transportation. So what that means, what I'm saying is that adults that don't wear their seatbelt pay their citation that's now $30, and a percentage of that citation goes to fund the SAFE program. So if you don't know much about Kansas, I'll let you know that there are a whole bunch of adult seatbelt citations issued all the time, every year. So there's a lot of money that is available to schools involved with the SAFE program to pay for their prizes, to pay for their monthly traffic safety educational activities. Yeah, what happens when everybody wears their seatbelt and there are no more tickets issued? Well, that's unfortunately, that's not something I see happening, at least while I'm in this position. So I'm not worrying myself with that. But prior to this bill being passed, my supervisor and I were writing grants all the time. So we wrote the grants, we received the grants, then we gave the money to the schools. Thanks to Senate Bill 89 and Kansas legislators, thank you. We don't have to write grants anymore. So this was a lot of information. And I know that there are a lot of really great programs out there focusing on traffic safety, specifically teen traffic safety. Heard about one before I got to speak. Point is, I know that you all are part of some of the great things that are happening in your states, in your communities. I'm not trying to sell the SAFE program. I mean, if you're interested in buying it, let me know, we can talk. But really, I want to help you with what you're already doing. Now, I'm not the know-all of traffic safety. So let's work together to broaden and expand each of our individual programs. SAFE program is great. If you didn't get from my presentation, I believe that we got it going on here in Kansas. But I would really love to be a part of a nationwide partnership that directly connects teen traffic safety programs. I always believe that things can be better, made better. What you're doing, what I'm doing, it can always get better. So let's talk. To end, few things that I always try to keep in mind as I move along with the growth of SAFE, and I encourage you all to remember when you're working with your programs that you've already got going on right now. Know what your problem is. I shared a lot of data. What does your data show? Gather people that are invested, who can do the work, who cares about the work. Teens, law enforcement, let them develop the plan. Don't do it for them. As you noticed in that video, the SAFE program is driven by teens. They get to choose what they're educating their peers on and how they're doing it. So I encourage you to let them develop the plan. Funding. Kansas, we're super lucky and fortunate and blessed and all of those other things because we have a sustainable funding source now. But there are tons of grants out there that I would love to help you apply for, get, share verbiage, go in with you on. Like, let's do this together. Start small and where the most impact can be made. If you remember, the SAFE program started in Crawford County, 1 county and 6 schools. From there, it grew by word of mouth. This sheriff told this sheriff, this principal told this principal, teachers. Like when you have a good thing, the word is going to spread. And I firmly believe that when it happens naturally, it works better. Ensure success first then grow. Don't try to grow and make big a program that's not working. Perfect it, make it strong, make it successful first, and then grow it. And lastly, be consistent. With a SAFE program, every school that is involved does a baseline survey. Every school that is involved sign pledge cards, give away prizes, share traffic safety messages, and every school has to complete that final survey at the end of the year. So big, small, medium, everybody in between, what they do exactly as far as education, it's a little bit different, but the general skeleton of the program is consistent. So this is me. This is my contact information, the website where you can find more information about the SAFE program. And now I think if Christine is okay with it, would love to take questions.
Yep, we've got quite a few questions.
Good.
So I encourage people to put some in the Q&A box if you've got any for Laura, but one of them was, do you have stipulations on how to use the money? So in Minnesota, the funding that we get, we can't buy giveaways and prizes and such like that.
Right. Yes, that's a NHTSA thing. That rule is a bad rule. But the money that comes to KDOT for our resources can only be used to buy same thing that you guys can buy, paper stuff. But we have that special fund now that is to be used for teen traffic safety education. That money goes to the schools to fund their program. And in the bill, it was written, fund their program so they can buy prizes. Like, we were very specific to write that out. It's in black and white. School, we send the money to schools, the schools buy prizes like gift cards, like Yeti cups, like movie tickets when we used to be able to go to the movies. So we can't buy it, but they can.
So how did you about how much on average do you receive from the Senate Bill 89 each year?
We don't actually get all of the money, we bill them. So it kind of works backwards. A school submits a check request to me. My company, DECA, DCCCA, sends the school a check, then bills KDOT for the money that they sent. So the amount of money that goes to schools depends on the population of the student body. Easy math, we're going to say high school A has 400 kids. Every school gets enough money to give one $25 prize per 100 students. So student body population is 400 divided by 100, because I want one prize per 100 students. 400 divided by 100, that's 4, times $25, that's 100, times the number of months they're doing the program. So you have a school with 400 kids, they're going to get $100 a month for 7 months to buy prizes. It's a one-time check. Like, they get the check at the beginning of the program and then they budget it. At the end of the year, they have to send me a form saying where, when, on what they spent the money on for auditing purposes. Every school, I mentioned consistency earlier. Every school gets $25 per 100 students times the number of months they do the program. Now, yes, in Kansas, there's a whole bunch of schools that have like 89 kids in the high school. It's a thing. They get $25 a month to buy prizes.
Okay, thank you. What was another one? Do the schools have to apply to you to start a program?
In order to get the funding and all of the other goodies, resources, speaker, videos, conference invitations, things like that, yes, they fill out an agreement form and a check request. Then we train them on how to complete the surveys and implement the program. COVID has messed things up this year. We have to do the surveys and the pledge cards differently. So we have made adaptions to that, or we've made the adaptions available to the schools if they need them.
That was a good segue, because one of the questions was, what does the SAFE program look like this school year given COVID?
Yeah, in a lot of places it's different. This summer was awful for us all, I know, because of COVID, but I don't know how many times I just cried because what is SAFE gonna be? How are they gonna do it? I have been shocked and blown away and knocked off my feet and surprised pleasantly. All of these are good things because there's almost 120 schools that still want to do the program. A lot of them are in person, just wearing masks, but there's still a lot that are completely remote, but they want to do the program. They want that opportunity, that traffic safety messaging, the money, the prizes, things like that.
So another question was, who is your contact at the school? You go through driver ed teachers, the DECA advisor?
That is a really good question, and it depends on the school. In Kansas, there are very few schools that have school resource officers. Typically the bigger city urban schools, Kansas City, Wichita, Topeka, Lawrence. In those bigger schools, sometimes I work with the school resource officer. Sometimes I work with the school counselor. Sometimes I work with the Student Council, National Honor Society, FFA, FACS, FCCLA, FBLA, Robotics Club, PEP Club, band teacher, anyone that is invested and interested, I work with. And I can sell it to science teachers. We're working with force. Math teachers, we're working with data and statistics. English teachers, we're working with journalism, newspaper, media. PE teachers, like I can sell it to any teacher. You just gotta let me know who I'm working with. But that's the really cool thing about traffic safety, is that it touches so many different aspects of our lives. There's always a place for it.
Yep, that's so true. So I had written down, you found 117 sponsors, which I want to hear more about that. But the other question was, how do you start looking for grants to apply for?
Well, just to clarify, the 117 sponsors, that was the adult sponsors, not funders.
Okay.
Like the club, the teacher, the school resource officer. But how do you look for grants? Insurance companies, State Farm and AAA, have been with and supportive of the SAFE program since the conception back in 2008, 2009. Foundations, hospitals, State Farm and AAA, Farm Bureau, like car insurance. They've got grants for traffic safety education. You just have to find it and have the verbiage. You have to have data. Why give a grant if there's not a need? To show need, you need data. But the verbiage, I would love to share some. I've got years and years worth of grant verbiage.
That's an art for sure.
Yeah, or something.
Who did you initially contact to start working on a bill such as the Senate Bill 89?
We actually worked with AAA. They pay, because I indirectly work for KDOT. So first came KDOT, then came DECA. Hum the song or the rhyme. First came love, then came marriage, then came the baby and the baby. So first came KDOT, then came DECA, then came the Traffic Safety Resource Office and the SAFE program. I indirectly work for KDOT, so we can't lobby. I can send an email from my personal email address, but they still don't like that. So we partnered with AAA, and they paid for the lobbyist. And then those of us that work for the DOT or the Traffic Safety Office, we just shared our testimony in front of legislators. But AAA found the legislator that sponsored the bill that would take it forward to the group of legislators that focused on traffic. And you guys, it took 3 years. It was fun, educational, interesting, hard, but it was a thing.
Let's see. Do you only give out money for prizes? What about media, publications, supplies, etc.?
Another great question. Every school, if they submit a check request, they get that $25 per 100 students for prizes. They get that no matter what. If they want to request additional funding for team shirts to wear on survey day, pledge card day, prize day, things like that, yes. If they want to request funding to buy poster board and markers and signs to put in the school parking lot, yes, they can request funding for that, as long as they will, as the SAFE team is going to use it for the SAFE program, for traffic safety education, there is money available. Now, I work with schools. School budgets are strict and tight, and those school accounting people are, you can't convince them of anything unless they have it written down. And so because of that, I trust that, and 13 years, we've never had problems, knock on wood, that the funding be used incorrectly.
Good. Do you know of any other states doing something similar to your program?
Yeah, we actually, DECA, the company I work for, actually has a contract in Oklahoma with the Oklahoma Highway Safety Office. So there are some SAFE programs down in Oklahoma. I know that Missouri has a program, but I don't know what it's called. And geography lesson, Kansas is right next to Missouri, and they're pretty competitive. You know how I said I want to partner? Like, I wish I could have a fun meeting with Missouri, but I haven't found that person to work with yet. They have a program and aren't really interested in partnering with us. There's a program called Teens in the Driver's Seat, and it's owned by Texas, somebody in Texas. And they have different programs, I think in like 5 or 6 different states. So I know that there are a lot of programs out there that do focus on teen drivers and teen traffic safety.
Yeah,
so
reading some of the comments, Penny is saying Missouri's program is Traction with
Traction. Yes, you're right. Traction. Yes, yes,
being
yes.
capitalized. Texas Transportation Institute, TT.
Yes.
At A&M University. On the teens in the driver's seat. Missouri First Impact Parent Awareness Program. Yep. Gordy, we've We've got that too.
Very cool.
Texas A&M has grants in 13 states.
13. Awesome. Yes.
I'll give you one last question. We're going to get close to time here, but
Sure.
do you feel that prizes really help to encourage and change behavior? Or do you feel that the prizes are more of a perk to get kids involved and create enthusiasm?
Both. Yeah, absolutely. Prizes are going to create enthusiasm and interest. And then to get a prize, you have to sign a pledge card. So you can get kids that sign pledge cards and don't actually wear their seatbelt. They just want to win the prize. I've seen before at a school assembly, a student's name being drawn to win a prize, and a few students, and then a few more, and then a few more, and then a few more, and then the whole student body knew that that kid didn't wear his seatbelt, and talk about a revolt. Like the entire student body was talking about it and mad and fighting and yelling, essentially. He didn't deserve that prize. And so it was, it was taken aside. They talked to the student later, but guess what? He always wears a seatbelt now because of peer pressure. And so that's a naturally occurring thing, that when you see your friend signing a pledge card and then you see them not winning a prize or not wearing their seatbelt, you're going to say something to them. When those prize winners are put in the media, put on the school's Facebook page, put in the student body newspaper or the school newsletter, Laura Moore wins safe prize for always wearing her seatbelt. And that goes out to the community. And then I drive up to the bank through the drive-through and I'm not wearing my seatbelt. Yet that teller has just saw my picture and name in the school newsletter. She's going to call me out. I've heard of instances like that happening before. Drive-through food. Like, why are you not wearing your seatbelt? You want a prize because you said you always wear your seatbelt. So peer pressure from student peers, but also from community members. To answer your question, both. It creates change, behavior change, yeah, but it also creates enthusiasm. You guys know, bring the food, they will come, same thing.
Yeah, and keeping the traffic safety chatter out there is always good. So
right.
Good stories. Thanks, Laura, for your presentation today. You mentioned that you also use seatbelt convincers, and we had one of those available to us in Minnesota last year, and we now have the opportunity to have 8 across the state. So we're super excited to, once we get through our COVID stay at home, to getting out there and working more closely with teens and the communities to spread the word about seatbelt safety. So your presentation was very timely for us to start those plannings.
Great.
Stages again. So thanks so much for being available today.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. If anyone has questions, please send me an email. And really quickly, Charlotte, Think First of Greater Kansas City. We actually encourage schools close to the Greater Kansas City area to use Think First, and they have multiple times in the past. So that's another partnership resource that we value and make available. So gosh, I could stay here forever talking to you all, but time's up. So thank you so much. Happy almost Friday. I hope that you all are staying safe and healthy and COVID free with your masks and blah. Thank you.
Yep. I just wanted to, the emerging leaders that our award winners today, wanted to give a shout out to VJ Dixit and the Shreya R. Dixit Memorial Foundation for their constant support and inspiration over the years. So yeah, congratulations, VJ. You've done a wonderful job mentoring these kids, and they wanted to give special thanks to you and your foundation. And then thank you again, Laura, and today's viewers for participating. We hope you learned something new, and we'll share your knowledge with your colleagues. There's a link to the evaluation that can be found in the chat box, and will also be emailed out to you. Please take 2 minutes to fill out that survey. The leadership team does read the results and from the surveys and uses the information for future events. And we encourage you to follow the Minnesota TZD program on its social media platforms that we list here. And lastly, we hope you sign up for other webinars in our series. I encourage you to attend webinars outside of your E and share information about the upcoming webinars with your colleagues across the other states. We've opened this up to 1,000 participants per webinar, and they're free this year. So really take advantage of that. The next webinar will be on October 27th at 1 o'clock. It's not too late to register for that event. Ross A. Chavez from the City of Woodbury's Public Safety Department will be the presenter. He'll be covering environmental factors that can affect traffic scene rescues and patient outcomes while sharing some of EMS providers and partner stories on the challenging crash case studies. A full list of webinar details can be found online. Remember, they're all free, but registration's required. So lastly, the Minnesota TZD program would like to end with this message. It's a powerful one, but really all of us working together can help move in the direction of changing that culture around traffic safety. So thank you again, Laura, for joining us today, and those of you that participated on the webinar, and have a great rest of your day.